All right, are you ready to get started?
I am. I'm excited for this one.
Cool. Give me 1 second here. All right. All good on your side?
It looks great.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So today we are on the next portion of Efficiency Unleashed, and we're going to dive into repurposing content. And this is going to have some overlap from maximizing email touches, overlap from Heather's webinars on email, where she referenced email sprinkler. So we're starting to get into the portion of all of these trainings where things are overlapping, because you can start using one thing to get something else launched and get another part of your business moving quicker. So you're going to see some of the same messages now as we move forward. But as we reference it, if you need to go back and watch it, it's all available, and we'll tell you exactly where it is to get there. So like I said, a lot of my stuff today is going to be referencing maximizing email touches. So on the content portion of our business, we know that content is king right now. We know that that's how you win. It's more than sales scripts or door knocking or anything else. So today's webinar, just like maximize email touches, it's going to be for you if you don't know what to say, you're uncomfortable in communication right now because the market is so wonky. You don't want to be just a salesperson that's trying to get people to do stuff, even if it's not in their best interest. You don't want to annoy your clients and friends by providing too much random things or random data, or even if you've been inconsistent in the past. I'm going to give you a roadmap today that's going to take one piece of content, one idea, and be able to be reused through multiple channels. And when you finish it, the first time you do it, it's going to take you a little bit of time. But once you get comfortable with it, you should be able to take one piece of content and be able to get it across all the channels in under an hour a week. And it's going to take you to just sit down and do it once. And my challenge to you on that is, if you can go on a Sunday afternoon or Saturday or whatever to get this content done, and then you'll be able to get it across 5 channels or 5 different places to repost it. By the end of a quarter, you're going to have 12 weeks of content with 5 or 6 things posted. So you're going to have like 60 to 70 pieces of content available. So a lot of people are going to be learning about you and how you run your business and why they should hire you, versus getting, information from you like, the market's hot or the market is crashing. It's a great time to buy, not a great time to sell. And when you move into that consultant role, that's when you're really going to start to see your conversion ramp up. So that's the idea of where we're going today. It sounds super overwhelming, but I promise you, if you follow the roadmap, it won't be too terrible. So let's talk about AI. Most of what I'm doing today, actually all of what I'm doing today, is generated off of ChatGPT and using AI. A lot of people right now are really scared of AI, and they have this wall up about it because they think AI is going to take jobs. It's going to take everything over. And ultimately, AI is a developing technology, and it's going to change things. It just is. So we have a couple options. We can either look at AI as a competitor and we can stonewall it, or we can look at it as an extension of our team and embrace it. And if you're like me right now, everything in your business has become more expensive, but your revenue is not matching that pace. It's not increasing as quickly as your expenses are. So when that happens, we have a couple of choices. We have to either cut expenses or figure out a way to increase revenue. And in my business, most of my expenses are set. I don't have a lot that I can cut out. So I have to figure out a way to increase revenue. And the best way to do that is to leverage AI, because AI can replace a lot of things that I would have to pay another person to do. I just have to learn how to use it and use it to my advantage. So as you're moving through this and other parts of your business, I would encourage you to really look at AI as an extension of your team and not a competitor. And I actually had AI generate this image of a robot and a man working together at the same table to illustrate my point. So if you're struggling with the idea of that, just think of this image and think of it, how you can leverage it versus trying to compete with it, because I don't think it's going to go away. So let's dive into how to get a good piece of content started and how to repurpose it. So in ChatGPT, you can enter a prompt that just says, write a blog about X, and it'll give you a blog. It'll be okay. If you don't have anything going on, it's better than nothing. But I have this prompt I want to share with you to get started so that you can get a really great blog or get really great content ideas flowing before you try and get content made. So the prompt that I use is, in a minute, I'm going to ask you to write some copy for my business. This will include blog content, Instagram, posts, and sales emails. The next part of the prompt is, before we begin, I want you to fully understand my customers and business. And so this is where I want to go back to the idea of leveraging AI as if it's an extension of your team. If you hired a copywriter or a social media manager or a marketing agency, they would ask you questions about your business and your brand and your voice and all of those things before they would ever generate anything. So you have to tell ChatGPT, I want you to understand me first before you write a blog about anything. And once it learns your voice, it'll start to sound more like you, and the editing process of what it produces becomes so much easier. The next part of that prompt is, ask me 20 questions about my business, customers, audience, and anything you need in order to complete the task to the best of your ability. And so now what it's going to do is it knows that it's making blog content, Instagram, social media, whatever. And now it's going to work inside of the parameters of your voice, what you do, who your people are, to create that content. So these are the 20 questions that it gave me when I started this journey. I'm not going to read all of these to you because that'll be super boring. But on the replay, you can just pause and read all of them, or you can just go into ChatGPT and enter that prompt, and it'll give you something similar. Before we move into the content portion, there were two questions that it asked me that I thought were really, really important for us to talk about. So one of the questions was, can you describe your ideal customer? As entrepreneurs, I think that most of us would say anybody with money is probably our customer. We'll service anybody. And you create this idea of, I'll go after anybody I can serve, and you have this really wide net. And when you do that, you're doing so many different things to complete a transaction or earn their business that nothing is the same in your business to operationalize. So you become really inefficient. And so when you start to drill down on what your ideal customer is, then you can start building content for that customer and start attracting more of those customers or clients. So if you're going after, so my ideal customer, the way that I answered this question was, my ideal customer is somebody who owns real estate already, someone who sees the value of owning real estate and believes in the value of owning real estate, somebody who's looking to grow their rental portfolio, or someone who's looking to move up in their real estate journey. And then fifth, my last ideal customer are actually people who are divorcing. And that, a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're crazy, David. Divorces are nuts. But I'm really good at that because I can just focus on the transaction. Heather and I talk about my emotional range or lack thereof. So I don't really get engaged in that part of it. So that's why I've become good at it, and I can get people through the process. Other people really love first-time homebuyers. Other people like Heather really love the investment side, and they're big on, she's big on, is this a lifestyle investment? Is this a financial investment? Let's talk about the 4 types of 1031 exchanges that are available. So once you can dive into your ideal customer or client, then you can start producing content that speaks to them, and then you'll attract more of those clients and customers, and you'll have a better business that'll make you happier. I promise you on that. And then outside of that, if you bring on a team member to assist you, When you're doing the same types of transactions or similar types, it's easier for your team member to catch on and assist you versus being like, okay, this year we did two land deals, we did an investment property, we did a divorce, like all the different things are so hard for them to learn and be in a repeatable process. So that's why I think this was a really great question that ChatGPT asked. And I think that we should all really identify what the ideal customer is that we want to work with. The next question that I thought was really, really great was, what's your business's unique value proposition? A lot of times in real estate, we'll say unique selling proposition or USP. And a lot of people don't really know the answer to this. They'll just say, I just sell houses, or I work with buyers, or I work with sellers. And when that's your unique value proposition, if you say, oh, I just work with sellers, I don't really know what that means as a client. Like most people who own a home don't call themselves a seller, so they don't understand that. But if you change your unique value proposition to say, I sell homes for more money in less time compared to the average agent, that's a unique selling proposition. That gets people going, okay, what are you doing differently than what every other realtor in the marketplace is doing? When I was working in my management company heavily, my unique selling proposition to landlords was, my vacancy rates are lower than the average management company. My maintenance costs are lower as well. So that results in a higher return on investment or more money in the landlord's pocket at the end of the day. So those were my unique selling propositions. If you don't have a unique selling proposition, what I would suggest you do is think about what you like to do, who you like to service, what types of clients you like, and then go into ChatGPT and ask it to help you write this proposition. Prompt it to ask you questions to write a really great value proposition. So then you can answer these 20 questions about content even better if you don't have the answer here. So let's go back to the beginning of the prompt. So it asked me the 20 questions, and now I've answered all of those 20 questions. I've given it the answer, and now I've asked it again. All right, in the beginning I said, I'm going to ask you to write some copy. So now that it's asked me the questions, it's prepared to write the copy for me. So that's what happens here. So I just grabbed the first couple things that it gave me to give examples. And I'm going to explain why this isn't what I would use and how we get better, but I just want to show it to you first. So the first one is a blog, and the title was Growing Wealth Through Real Estate, Your Stress-Free Journey with David Mathewes. I like the beginning of it, but I would never add my name to it like that. But this gets you started, and you can ask ChatGPT to edit it or change it, or you can just edit it yourself if you just want to take out like your name or update anything. And then it gives 2 Instagram posts that tie back to this blog. I'll read the second one to you. So real estate is more than a transaction, it's a journey, and it's one we'll take together stress-free. Are you ready? Now, I would never, ever post that. That's just not my brand voice. That's not how I would talk. So I would need to tell ChatGPT to change that up, or I would say, I don't like this because that's not my brand voice, or that's not how I talk. That's too emotional. And then it would regenerate some content for me. The next thing that it did was a sales email about growing wealth. So I'm going to read one paragraph out of here that is not what I like, but I think it's important. So this email is a sales email. It's straight up like go right for the jugular, because I told it to write a sales email. So it says, don't let objections about cost stop you from making a decision that could change your life. Let's discuss your real estate goals and how I can make them a reality. I would never sit down at a table and just say that to somebody because that's really tone deaf about where we are in the market. But that is something that I believe. I don't believe that we should let cost stop us, because there is an investment in the journey that we can make, in the real estate journey that we can make, that will pay off, I believe, tenfold. So I need to get this more of my voice, but I told it a sales email, and it literally gave me a straight go for the jugular sales email. So what I did was I said, can we write this email for clients who already know me and I have a relationship with? Because I would want to encourage the people on my list to invest in real estate. So they took that, ChatGPT took the sales email and then rewrote it. And so it's a little bit softer in the beginning. As someone who's had the pleasure of working with you in the past, I want to talk to you about the current market. But what I like is the second paragraph the most. It says, despite the common concerns about costs, I firmly believe that a well-planned real estate investment can be a game changer when it comes to financial growth. This is 100% something that I would say. It handles the objection about cost and interest rates. We all know that real estate is the most expensive it's ever been, and rates are higher than they've been recently. But I do believe that owning real estate can change your family tree. And so this is something that is aligned with my voice. And if I sat down at a table with you, that I would be able to share with you and feel good about it. So this email is really, really good. So now I can use this email to promote back to the blog about growing wealth in real estate. And then I can tell ChatGPT, okay, now we've got the sales email done that I like. Let's write Instagram posts that mirror this language versus the very first one. So that's how we're going to this is the idea of how to get started on it. But what I'm going to do now is take you through start to finish a topic that it gave me and the prompts that I gave it back, and show you the content that was produced. So in the original prompt, I said, we're just going to start doing some content. It asked me questions. I answered the question about my ideal customer. And I shared that I like working with divorce clients. And so an anchor topic it gave me was exactly this: navigating the real estate market post-divorce, how I can help. I really liked that title. That's a really great blog post. And I knew that from there, I would be able to get more content churned out. So this section of the presentation, I just titled it, Tell Me How to Get Divorced. I thought it would be fun to, just title it that and see what happens, see what screenshots get sent to my spouse about what I'm doing today on the internet. So tell me how to get divorced. So the first thing is the long form blog post. So I told it to write, I copied that anchor topic and I said, write a long form blog. And this is the blog exactly that it wrote. I didn't edit anything out of it. So you'll see that it gives me 6 headers that are bolded. And then at the bottom, it gives me a call to action that's pretty good. And so I can copy and paste this directly into my blog. It does the formatting, the bolding, everything for you. And then you could add in a couple of calls to action if you wanted to. I would use the blog as your foundation. Everything that you promote when you're repurposing this content is going to come back to the blog. And then the blog has call to actions, to schedule a call with you, set up a home search, whatever that looks like. The whole goal is to get people back to the long form blog to have the foundation, because in the long-term plan, then you can start retargeting them or use Google Analytics to learn about your clients. But I don't want that to overwhelm you. So don't stress out about that right now. Just focus on getting people back to the blog where all of the content is. Okay, so we have the blog done. Now we can build a Facebook ad to promote that blog. And if you're like me, the Facebook ad stresses you out. What I hate about writing Facebook ads is I get in there and I never know what to do. And so what I said was, tell me step-by-step how to write a Facebook ad to promote this blog. And what's not in this screenshot is all the steps. Literally says, open Facebook Business Manager, click on create an ad, create a campaign. It walks me all the way through to designing the ad. And then you'll see that in the ad, you fill in primary text, headline, description, URL, call to action. When I'm building ads, what always gets me is I never know what to put in the description versus what goes in primary text. And so it gives you the information between the quotes. You can just copy and paste it and fill in all the fields. And then, of course, it doesn't know your URL, so you would fill that in. And then it tells you what call to action to use. So from picking a topic, we now have a full blog post done, and the Facebook ad is almost done. I always struggle with what kind of pictures to use. So I asked ChatGPT, what picture should I use for this Facebook ad? and it answered the question on the left. So it says image of a comfortable home, a path or open road, a realtor helping a client, or a text-based image. I took the top three, entered those into Canva, and the results are on the left. So comfortable home, realtor helping a client, and and path or open road. So what's happened for me here is I have a full Facebook ad with 3 different pieces of creative that I can tie to the ad. And so not only do I have an ad that's ready, I have 3 versions of the ad that are available. So I can figure out what image speaks to the clients or the people on Facebook that gets them to click. And once I know that, then I can just put all my money behind the one ad instead of just putting one picture out and seeing what happens. So most people or most agents will create an ad, they'll get a photo out, it'll perform or it won't, and then they'll turn it off. But now you're going to have some ideas of what works and what doesn't work. And you could also ask ChatGPT to give you different variations of your description or your headlines to see what can work as well. So you don't have to try and figure out what works, what doesn't work. You don't have to pay a marketing agency to figure it out. It's all right here. You're literally just copying and pasting. You can also use this ad to make a regular Facebook post to promote to the blog that you're not paying any money on. It would just be organic. They would just be organic clicks from your list. So next thing is your Instagram carousel. So we know carousels are performing really, really well right now. And the main reason why is because a carousel is one post with multiple pictures that people swipe through. And so when my carousel comes up in Heather's feed, it will show picture 1. If she doesn't go on to picture 2 or 3, the next time that it puts it in her feed, it'll be picture 2. Now, let's say she swipes and looks at picture 3, but then continues to scroll. The next time it feeds it to her, it's picture 4. So the same post is showing up multiple times to engage your list. So that's why carousels are performing so well right now, because when people scroll past you, if they're just scrolling, they're not going to catch that it's the same caption or the same description, but a new photo. So it's really nice because then you get to learn, or the algorithm learns what picture in that carousel performs really well. And then that's what it starts to feed to people. So I told it to make me an Instagram carousel to promote the blog. And I'm not going to read each one of these to you, but it just said, absolutely, let's do it. We're going to make a 5-slide carousel to promote the blog. And so what it does is it gives me slide 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the next page are 5 and 6. And it gives you the caption and then the content as well for the slide. So you can, if you just want to just put the captions on a blank color or a color that's part of your branding, you could do that. Or the content it gives you, you could find that picture in Canva and then copy the caption right onto the photo. However you want to do it, it's giving you both options. So you can get all of this done, get 5, 6, and then the last thing that's super important when you're doing the Instagram carousel is to make sure that you put in their link in bio and you use that tool. So what that does is it tells people to go to your bio, click on link in bio, and then you'll see right here on mine, I have the screenshot of link in bio and I have new to market. So that was my last carousel I posted promoting a listing. So that picture matches the first picture of my carousel so they know what to click on. So if on this one, if I'm promoting, I can help you through a divorce, and my first picture is the road splitting, that's what would be there. They would click on it and then they would get to the blog. So everything we're doing is pushing back to the blog. The worst thing that you can do here is say, call me to discuss your real estate needs or call me to do whatever, because people are on Instagram, they're not going to call you. They're not going to leave Instagram, find your phone number, call you, whatever. You just want to make it easy for them to click to get where they need to schedule an appointment with you or book a call. And using link in bio is what will get you there. So the next part that I did was I told it to write me a sales email, but don't make me sound like an ambulance chaser, because divorce attorneys are known for bleeding people dry. I'm sure there's good divorce attorneys out there who don't do that, but the marketing that we see is very ambulance chaser-like. So that's the exact words I used. Don't make me sound like an ambulance chaser. And before we go into the email, we have sprinklers here because Heather is big on the email sprinkler. And so I just wanted you to visually think about Heather and the email sprinkler that she has taught us about. And if you haven't watched that one, go back and watch it. So email sales copy. So my email that would go out to my list is this to promote the blog. And I'm only going to share a couple things from this because I think it's really cool. So first it starts off with, I'm writing to share a recent experience that was both challenging and deeply rewarding. I had the privilege of assisting a couple navigate the complex journey of selling their shared property during a divorce. And then it goes on to say, I understand that the intersection of divorce and real estate can be a daunting crossroad. And then at the bottom, there's a good call to action, and it says, please forward this email to anyone who might find it useful. So that's a really great call to action because my email here is a story about a client that I helped. I'm sending this to my list. I may not have anybody on my list who's divorcing, but they probably know somebody who is getting ready to go through a divorce or is in a divorce and they don't know what to do with their real estate. So that is an easy way for somebody to be like, hey, Heather, I know you got a rough time. You know, my agent just sent this to me, take a look. Or if your content is, you know, I just helped this empty nester family downsize. Here's how we did it in this challenging market. I'm working with clients who are trying to buy, but they have to sell their home. Inventory's tight. Here's how we did it. And so what we're trying to do here is create more content about what we do, not about what's happening in the market. Because in the market, everybody can find out that rates are high, inventory's low. You know, I can turn on the news today and I can almost guarantee that there's going to be a story about how rates are record high. We still have multiple offers on properties and nobody understands how the buyers can afford to buy. I can keep replaying that same rhetoric, or I can start sharing about how I'm helping people win by using this repurposed content. And I promise you, the repurposed content is going to get you far more clients than talking about multiple offers or that rates are really high. So the last portion of repurposing this content is using 1-minute video scripts. So we can use those for Reels on Instagram or Facebook. And then you can also use it for YouTube Shorts. And so I told it to give me 3 1-minute video scripts. And so what it did was it gave me a script that was a direct appeal, a second one called sharing experience, and a third one called emotional approach. We already know I have no emotion, so I didn't even read that one. And then the middle one, sharing experience, I thought was pretty good. So it was just like, hello, it's David Mathewes here. I just had the honor of assisting a couple through a challenging time, managing real estate decisions during their divorce. I've documented the journey along with helpful tips and guidance on my latest blog post. You'll find advice on understanding your options, the role of a full-service realtor, and how to navigate the logistics. Click on the link to learn more. So that is an easy reel to post. That's an easy story to post with the link to the blog. You could even take that video, and that's a very soft approach. You could then kind of get more of a, sorry, I lost my train of thought, a grittier hook. And you could just say, like the hook, instead of being like, hello, it's David here, you could just be like, hey, divorce sucks. However, I just had the honor of assisting a couple through a challenging time, right? Something that's going to stop the scroll with just changing the hook might be good. But most people, when you're starting this content repurposing journey, you don't feel comfortable with those grittier hooks. So I would start here on the softer approach, and then you could move into those hooks that are scroll stoppers, if you will. So to recap, what we have is we had a foundational blog written. From there, we got a Facebook ad done. You can also create a Facebook post, an Instagram carousel done, and then Reels, and then an email sales copy written. So that's 5 mediums from one blog post. So that's why I was saying in the beginning of this, if you get one foundational blog done, you can get 5 pieces of content written. And I would even go as far as saying, you could get more videos out of the blog because you have 5 or 6 bullet points in there, and you could really do a 1-minute touch on each one of the bullet points and then promote everything back to the blog. So if you're in a challenge right now to get a video done a day on Instagram, that would be a really great way for you to do it. So let's talk about the underlying idea and then we'll wrap up. So we know that content wins. We've talked about it over and over and over. It's so much better to produce content about how you're helping your clients win, how you're helping your clients get through a stressful situation, versus being the agent who today says the market's hot, it's a great time to sell. And then the next day, speaking out of the other side of your mouth saying the market's crashing, it's a great time to buy, because those things get tired, but most agents don't know what to say. So they just go back to the sales scripts that they learned that they think will incite action. And it just doesn't. People get tired of that. But if you are sharing from a consultant role versus a sales role, so consulting on, this is how I help first-time homebuyers win in the market today. I took Tim and Susie from start to finish. This is what we did. Or this is how I helped these clients buy a new construction home. These are the challenges we faced. Or this is how I helped my clients sell a home that had over $100,000 in repairs that were needed, but we still got the home sold for them. Those types of things are scroll stoppers, and that really helps people understand who you are. And when you get there, then they are in rapport with you long before they ever call you to sell their home or buy a home. And I want to share with you that a year ago, I had to go back and find it, but a year ago, I posted a reel about a murder house, just asking if you would ever buy a murder house. And I had that conversation with some people. And so I shared the video of how it was really interesting how some people would never buy a murder house. They don't care what, if they didn't know or anything, they just would never do it. Me, I don't care. Like, put some new carpet down, paint the walls, we're totally cool. And so I had posted that video and had some, interaction on it, some engagement. It wasn't anything that was groundbreaking. But last week I went on a listing appointment and walked in, and I'm like, hey, you guys ready to sell the house? And they're like, yeah, we are, but we really want to talk about the murder house. And so we spent like 10 minutes talking about a murder house and if they would buy a murder house and how they felt about it. And we engaged in that whole conversation. So before I walked in the door, I already knew that I had the listing because they were already so in rapport with me about how I work and what I do. They just wanted to talk like friends. So when you can create this content, take one thing and repurpose it multiple ways, you'll get into rapport with them. And what's really great about repurposing it is that one spouse may be a reader and one spouse may be a watcher. And the content's the same. So you're going to be able to connect with both spouses before you get there by having the blog or the carousel post available, as well as the 1-minute reel. So that's the whole idea of repurposing content, is that you can connect with more people and you can connect with the spouses who are both decision makers long before you get to the table. Because when we're at the table, we're trying to figure out, okay, that's personality, that's a driver, and she's more of a feeler, and you're trying to appeal to both of them. You can flush all that out by having them have time on brand with you. So that's my presentation today on repurposing content. It was a fast one, so feel free to go back, rewatch it. If you have any questions, you can text either of us on these numbers, or you can email us at vip@realgoodlife.co. And next week, we have a guest speaker, Shauna Martinez from Texas. I'm super excited about that one. And we got some coffees coming up, some happy hours, some in-person stuff. So yeah, we got lots of fun stuff happening. Heather, anything from you?
Gosh, I don't have a lot to say other than this was amazing how you laid out how to optimize your time through all of these different methods. This is definitely one where I would go back, rewatch, and pause, and then work through the prompts, and then continue playing. So this is a great recording to be able to work through at a later date.
Cool. Well, thank you so much. Thanks for being here, and I hope everyone has an awesome day.
Thanks, you guys. Bye.